Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Christmas with Casey Jones Costello, that would be me, and Gail Hyde over here at the piano. And I hope that this video finds you all well, and we hope that you'll enjoy this program that we've prepared for you of some of my favorite traditional Christmas songs, popular songs, carols, and even a couple of songs that I myself composed, because I'm not only a singer, but I also like to write my own songs. So there's a couple that I'm pretty sure most of you will not have heard in this program, and I hope you'll enjoy them all. So we've prepared a wide variety of songs for you, and I hope that you'll enjoy it and help celebrate the holiday season with us. And so we're going to bring you a song to begin our program from 1951, written by Mr. Meredith Willson, words and music by Meredith Willson, best known for his Broadway show The Music Man and later The Unsinkable Molly Brown. He's also, probably today, best remembered, equally so, for this perennial favorite Christmas song. And so what better song to begin our program with than It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10, glistening once again, with candy canes and silver lanes aglow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hobble boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Dolls that will talk and will go for a walk is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. There's a tree in the Grand Hotel, one in the park as well, the sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. Sure, it's Christmas once more. Well, this next song that we're going to do was actually introduced by the great Bing Crosby, who is probably the most popular, easily the most popular vocalist and entertainer, actor of the first half of the 20th century. Between Bing Crosby and Al Jolson, they were two of the best-known names in all of entertainment in the golden age of Hollywood. And I would argue, and I think most people would agree really, that no one is more synonymous with Christmas music to this day than Bing Crosby. And of course, White Christmas is his most famous Christmas song, arguably his most famous song that he ever recorded. But he recorded and introduced so many wonderful Christmas songs, including this next one, which we're going to do for you, back in 1943. And it was reportedly the favorite song of the troops serving, American troops serving overseas during World War II. and I think the sentiment of the lyrics explains why. So with music and lyrics by Kim Gannon and Walter Kent, the song is called I'll Be Home for Christmas. I'm dreaming tonight of a place I love, even more than I usually do. And although I know it's a long road back, I promise you I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. This next song we're going to do is another perennial Christmas favorite, although when it was introduced it was thought of as more of a winter song than a Christmas song, because first of all it never specifically mentions Christmas, and a lot of artists sang it on the radio, which was quite popular at the time. Many artists had their own radio shows. So I've heard a lot of old radio shows that were done in January and February that included this song too, even though now it's pretty much relegated to the Christmas and holiday season. But it's a wonderful song nonetheless. And it was written, one of the earlier popular songs, by the great team of Jules Stein and Sammy Cahn, who had a long and successful relationship working together. Jules Stein, who wrote music, and Sammy Cahn, who wrote lyrics. And later on, Jules Stein and Sammy Cahn would go on to make create the 1948 Broadway musical High Button Shoes together, and that launched Jules Stein's Broadway career, for which he later became best known. He would later contribute the scores to such shows, classic shows as Gypsy and Funny Girl, and as well as songs for the Mary Martin version of Peter Pan. So he had a long and diverse career both as a popular songwriter in Hollywood and later as a Broadway songwriter as well. But this next song is one of his best-known pieces, and it's the holiday classic, Christmas or just winter song, whatever you want to think of it as. It's a classic nonetheless, and it's called Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow.
Snowman in the yard is frozen hard, he's a sorry sight to see. If he had a brain, he'd complain that he wishes he were me. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful, and since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping, and I've brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you'll really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. The fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Well, this next song we're going to do is actually an original piece which I wrote several years ago, and it's a religious piece, so I write secular pieces, secular Christmas songs, as well as some religious pieces, and this is one that when I wrote it, I was trying to capture the spirit of the 19th century carols that I personally love so much, and I hope that you will enjoy it as well, even though this one will certainly be unfamiliar to you. When I played it for the first time with the organ director, choir director, organist at my church to which I belong, St. Thomas's Episcopal Church in Rochester, and the choir director there who accompanied me said it reminded him of a college fight song. So I don't know if that was intended as a compliment or not, but in any event, it was amusing anyway. So I'll let you all make your own determinations as to what you think of it. Maybe you can, maybe it will remind you of something else entirely. But in any event, I hope you enjoy the song. And it's a piece I wrote, words and music for, and it's called Christmas, Blessed Christmas.
It's Christmas, blessed Christmas, the happy bells will chime, ring out the news our Lord rejoice, for Christ delivers us from all our earthly fear. It's Christmas, blessed Christmas, the burden has been won. The child born in Bethlehem is God's begotten Son. It's Christmas, blessed Christmas, now sing a song of mirth. The Christ child brings the gift of peace and goodwill to the earth. It's Christmas, blessed Christmas, the star shines bright above. The Virgin Mary's holy child will bring unending love.
Well, this next song that we're going to do is a piece which, like several others in our program, was introduced first by the great Mr. Bing Crosby, and this was probably it wasn't the last Christmas song he recorded by a long stretch. In fact, one of the very last recording sessions he ever did was for his 1977 Christmas special, which aired posthumously because he passed away in October of '77, and it was taped in September. And it was from that special, incidentally, that the famous duet between Bing and David Bowie doing The Little Drummer Boy / Peace on Earth came. So Bing was recording Christmas music literally right up until just before he passed away. But one of the last really popular Christmas songs that he introduced on the radio and in records was this next song that we're going to do from 1962 called Do You Hear What I Hear? And it was written by Noel Regny and Gloria Shane, who were a married couple, and they were said, based on my research, said to have been inspired by wanting to write something as a song of peacefulness and hopefulness after the Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba in 1962. So not what you would expect to inspire a classic Christmas song, and yet it did. So from 1962, this next piece comes, and this particular arrangement actually was first performed by the equally great as Bing Crosby, Andy Williams. So we're going to do his arrangement of Do You Hear What I Hear?
Said the night wind to the little lamb, do you see what I see? Way up in the sky, little lamb, do you see what I see? A star, dancing in the night with a tail as big as a kite, with a tail as big as a kite. Said the little lamb to the shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? Ringing through the sky, shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? A song, high above the trees, with a voice as big as the seas, with a voice as big as the seas. Said the shepherd boy to the mighty king, do you know what I know? In your palace warm, mighty king, do you know what I know? A child shivers in the cold. Let us bring him silver and gold. Let us bring him silver and gold. the people everywhere. Listen to what I say. Pray for peace, people everywhere. Listen to what I say. The child, sleeping in the night, he will bring us goodness and light. He will bring us goodness and light.
Well, this next song that we're going to do is a traditional Christmas carol, traditional English Christmas carol, which dates back at least to the 1700s, if not earlier. And this particular arrangement, however, like the last piece that we did, was performed and recorded by Andy Williams. So it is Andy Williams' arrangement of this piece which we're going to be performing for you. And it's a great arrangement of a beautiful Christmas song, so I hope that you'll enjoy it. So from the 1700s, but also from Andy Williams' Christmas album in 1963, the song is The First Noel. The next song that we're going to do is a piece, a novelty piece actually, written back in 1952, and many of the greatest Christmas songs that have maintained their popularity are novelty songs, and really I'd say one of the first novelty songs of the 20th century that really started the trend was probably Santa Claus is Coming to Town in 1934, and there were many great ones that followed it. And so this one from 1952 with words and music by Tommy Connor, and has been covered by lots of artists over the years, including the Jackson 5 with a lead vocal by Michael Jackson in the 1970s. I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Christmas toys all over the place. Little Johnny wears a funny smile upon his face. For Johnny has a secret, and the secret he must share. He wants to tell somebody, so he tells his teddy bear. I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe last night. She didn't see me creep down the stairs to have a peep. She thought that I was tucked up in my bedroom fast asleep. Then I saw Mommy tickle Santa Claus underneath his beard so snowy white. Oh, what a laugh it would have been if Daddy had only seen Mommy kissing Santa Claus last night. Then I saw Mommy tickle Santa Claus underneath his beard so snowy white. Oh, what a laugh it would have been if Daddy had only seen Mommy kissing Santa Claus last night.
Well, this next song, never let it be said of us that we're one-trick ponies, because we don't just do one genre of music. Even when we're doing Christmas songs, we like to have a wide repertoire, a wide variety of pieces we're bringing to you. So, it may not seem like the most logical segue to go from I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus to this next piece, but I guess it's a juxtaposition to show the versatility of Gail and me, at least what I hope is our versatility. And this next piece is a beautiful song written back in 1934, at least arranged back in 1934. It was said to have been adapted by John Jacob Niles and Lewis Henry Horton from a traditional Appalachian carol that he discovered when studying the music of that region. And there's actually some controversy over that point, according to my research, because some people have said in later years that he actually wrote the piece rather than arranged it, and then just claimed that it was a traditional folk song. But for me personally, as someone who writes songs myself, I don't know why you would claim to have arranged a piece instead of acknowledge that you composed it, because to me there's more glory and recognition in having written the piece. So who knows, but in any event, it makes a very interesting story, and it's a beautiful song regardless of how it came about. So, and it's an American carol, which is also an interesting aspect of the song. So from 1934, the piece is called I Wonder as I Wander.
as I wander out under the sky, how Jesus the Saviour did come for to die, for poor ornery people like you and like I. I wonder as I wander out under the sky. When Mary birthed Jesus, 'twas in a cow stall, with wise men and farmers and shepherds and all. But high from God's heaven a star's light did fall, and the promise of ages it then did recall. If Jesus had wanted for anything, a star in the sky or a bird on the wing, or all of God's angels in heaven for to sing, he surely could have it, 'cause he was the King. I wonder as I wander out under the sky, how Jesus the Saviour did come for to die, for poor ornery people like you and like I. I wonder as I wander out under the sky.
Well, this next piece that we're going to do is a song, another song that I wrote actually a few years ago, and it was first performed by Mitzi Collins and her sampler trio ensemble with Glenda Dove, who plays the flute, and Roxanne Ziegler, who plays harp. And so I wanted to write a piece to perform with them, and they do a lot of traditional English folk music, and so I tried to think of a song, or try to write a song that would capture that sort of not just English, but specifically I was thinking like Dickensian England, like a Christmas carol, Christmas type of Christmas song that you might have heard, like a wassailing song from the early to mid 1800s, a jubilant song. And so I hope that I captured that spirit. I hope that you'll feel that I captured that spirit with this next piece. And I thought that it was, I don't know, you know, the thing about video is it can be around for a very long time. So you may be watching this in the year in which it was recorded, 2020, or you may be watching it 100 years from now, for all I know. But this year has been, this year 2020 has been, Anno Domini 2020 has been particularly difficult because of, you know, everything going on with COVID-19. And so I thought it would be nice to sing a song, a more cheerful song, and I wrote this a few years ago, and it's called Good Health, Good Cheer Through Christmas and a Happy New Year. So I hope that you all enjoy it.
Good health, good cheer be with us all here through Christmas and a happy new year. Let's bid the old year fondly goodbye and raise a glass, for the new one is nigh. Wassail, wassail, o'er hill and dale, as merrily our voices regale. Good health, good cheer be with us all here through Christmas and a friends, each one, all join in the fun. Our merriment has only begun. Let's sing a song for old lang syne, and nevermore our hearts to repine. Wassail, wassail, o'er hill and dale, as merrily our voices regale. Good health, good cheer, be with us all here through Christmas and a happy New Year. Good gifts for all, some big and some small. Saint Nicholas to each of will call. Let's hang the holly upon the door, and raise a glass for it's Christmas once more. Wassail, wassail, o'er hill and dale, as merrily our voices regale. Good health, good cheer, be with us all here through Christmas and a happy New Year. Good bread, good yeast, let's have us a feast. The pudding's made, all troubles are ceased. Let's fill our plates, and when we are done, let's give our thanks. God bless us each one. Wassail, wassail, o'er hill and dale, as merrily our voices regale. Good health, good cheer, be with us all here through Christmas and a happy New Year.
Well, this next song that we're going to do is actually a musical setting of a piece, a poem, rather, written by Christina Rossetti, and it has been set a number of times by different composers. However, my favorite setting is the beautiful version which Gustav Holst wrote for it in the early 1900s. And it's truly one of the most beautiful Christmas songs and carols, certainly of the 20th century, early 20th century, and really of all time, if you ask me. So I hope that you'll enjoy it as much as Gail and I both enjoy it. And it's called In the Bleak Midwinter.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago, angels and archangels may have gathered there, cherubim and seraphim from the air, but only his mother
This next song we're going to do is one of the all-time best-loved popular Christmas songs, I would say. It was written back in 1946 and popularized and introduced by Nat King Cole and the King Cole Trio. However, it was actually, it was not written by Nat King Cole. It was actually written by another famous singer who at the time wasn't as well known as Nat King Cole. And despite that, he wrote the song, and Nat King Cole was the first to do it. And that singer was, of course, Mr. Mel Torme, the Velvet Fog, and he co-wrote it with his friend and co-songwriter, collaborator, Robert Wells. And they were said to have written it on a hot, sunny day in July in Los Angeles. So not the most appropriate time to be writing a Christmas song, I guess. But they said they were trying to think cool thoughts to cool them down on what was a very hot day, and they came up with the Christmas song. And Mel Torme didn't actually make his own recording of it until the 1960s, so almost 20 years after it was written. And of course, it's still to this day identified most with Nat King Cole, who recorded it at least no less than 4 times, no fewer than 4 times over his career. First in 1946, and so from 1946, we're going to do the Christmas song, or Merry Christmas to You.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. To kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Well, this next song we're going to do is certainly one of the best known and best beloved of Christmas songs, Christmas carols. It was originally known in Latin as Adeste Fideles, and in English it's O Come All Ye Faithful. And the composer is unknown. There's a lot of speculation. You can read about it online as to who wrote it. There are some who say they absolutely attribute it to certain people. Was at one time known as the Portuguese carol because it was thought to have originated in Portugal, but then that was later found not to be the case. So it's really, its origins are a bit mysterious, but that hasn't stopped it from becoming one of the best beloved of all Christmas carols. And this particular arrangement is from 1961, and it was arranged by David Wilcox. So I think it brings a nice variation on the traditional tune that we all, well, that I certainly know and love, and I hope that you will know it and love it as well. And the translation of the words was done by Frederick Oakley. And it says W.T. Brooke. I don't know who he is, but I do know Frederick Oakley. So, anyway, the song is O Come All Ye Faithful, or Adeste Fideles. This next song that we're going to do is a less familiar piece, and it's a more contemporary song. It was written back in 1976 by the composer and with words by Natalie Sleeth. And she wrote a number of hymns and carols and religious pieces in the 1970s and 80s. And I first learned of her work and of her as a composer when I performed a piece at a Methodist church where I sometimes perform as a soloist, and I sang a song of hers called "Hymn of Promise," and I thought it was such a beautiful piece that I was intrigued and inspired to look up Natalie Sleeth and find some more of her stuff, and I discovered this next piece, and I had never heard it before, and so I suspect many of you watching out there and listening may never have heard it before either, but I hope that you will enjoy it as much as I did when I first heard it. And it's a beautiful piece called "Were You There on That Christmas Night?"
Christmas night, when the world was filled with a holy light? Were you there to behold when the wonder foretold came to earth? Did you see? Did you see how they hailed him king, with a gift so rare that they chose to bring? Did you see how they bowed as they praised him aloud at his birth? Did you hear how the choirs of angels sang at the glory of the sight? Did you hear how the bells of heaven rang all through the night? Did you know it was God's own Son, the salvation of the world begun? Did you know it was love that was sent from above to the earth? Did you know it was love that was sent from above to the earth?
Well, this next song we're going to do is one that I think will be familiar to most of you. It is a Christmas novelty song, specifically about the 9th reindeer of Santa's sleigh, Mr. Well, I don't know about Mr., but Rudolph in any event. That's usually what he goes by. And there was, of course, a famous song about Rudolph, and it was written with lyrics and music by the composer Johnny Marks. And Johnny Marks may not be a name that you're very familiar with, but he sort of had a cottage industry of writing Christmas songs, and ironically he was a Jewish composer. So, and yet the music publishing company which he founded was entitled St. Nicholas Music Incorporated. So really, Christmas songs, starting with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in 1949, became his bread and butter, and he would go on to write other such classic, famous Christmas songs as Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, as well as Have a Holly Jolly Christmas, and Silver and Gold. I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, the Bing Crosby version of that. So many other Christmas songs. The Night Before Christmas song, which Gene Autry and Rosemary Clooney did as a duet. The list goes on and on. He wrote all the songs for the TV specials, the TV special Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, featuring Burl Ives, of course, as the snowman. And anyway, this was the song really that started it all back in 1949. And it was introduced by the great singing cowboy, Mr. Gene Autry. And so, from 1949, I hope you enjoy it, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
Well, this next song we're going to do is one of the pieces which really started the trend of popular novelty Christmas songs back in 1934 when it was introduced. And it was written with music by J. Fred Coots and words by Haven Gillespie. And it was said to have been introduced, but never recorded, unfortunately, but it was introduced on the radio by Mr. Eddie Cantor. And it was later released by a number of artists. And my personal favorite recording was done by Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters in, I believe, 1947. And so there have been everyone from Bing Crosby to Bruce Springsteen and Eddie Cantor and everybody in between have covered this song over the last 85 plus years. And it's still one of the most popular and reminds us that we all need to be good all year round if you don't want to get coal in your stocking, because a certain man with red suit watches you all the time and he's coming to town. So if you don't want coal, you better watch out and you better not cry. You better not pout, and I'm telling you why. So we're going to do it for you now, and the song is called Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Just came back from a lovely trip along the Milky Way. I stopped off at the North Pole to spend a holiday. I called on dear old Santa Claus to see what I could see. He took me to his workshop and told his plans to me. So you better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list and checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's Claus is coming to town with little tin horns and little toy drums, Rudy toot toots and rummy tum tums. Santa Claus is coming to town. And curly-headed dolls that toddle and coo, elephants, boats, and kitty cars too. Santa Claus is coming to town. The kids in girl and boyland will have a jubilee. They're gonna build a toyland town all around the Christmas tree. So you better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming, Santa Claus is coming, Santa Claus is coming to town.
Well, this next piece we're going to do is actually a piece which seems particularly suited for this year since, well, either by choice or by mandate, most people are going to be spending the holidays at home this year in 2020. And so I thought, what better piece to do than this next song? And it's a song which was written by Al Stillman and Robert Allen, who composed a number of songs together in the 1950s and 60s. And this piece was introduced by the great Mr. Perry Como back in 1954, and it became one of many Christmas songs that he sang over the years, along with Bing Crosby and Andy Williams and Johnny Mathis, and I'd say that probably nobody else is more associated with Christmas music than Perry Como. And this is probably the most famous Christmas song for which he remains best known. So from 1954, the song is called "There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays."
Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, when you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can't beat home sweet home. I met a man who lives in Tennessee, and he was heading for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shore. From Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, if you want to be happy in a million ways, for the holidays you can't beat home sweet home. Man who lives in Tennessee, and he was heading for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania folks are traveling down to Dixie's sunny shore. From Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, if you want to be happy in a million ways, holidays you can't beat home, sweet home. For the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home.
Well, this next piece we're going to do is actually an Italian piece written by the composer Pietro A. Jan in 1917, and it was translated into English by Frederick H. Martins, and it's, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful religious Christmas songs of the 20th century, albeit the early 20th century, and it's a lovely piece in English known as The Infant Jesus, and in its original Italian, it's called Gesù Bambino.
When blossoms flowered mid the snows upon a winter night, was born the child, the Christmas rose, the King of love and light. The angels sang, the shepherds sang, the grateful earth rejoiced, and at his blessed birth the stars their exultation Christ alone.
Well, this next song we're going to do is a piece written by the great songwriting team of Jay Livingston and Ray Evans. And if their names, I should say, don't ring a bell, I suspect that at least some of the songs that they wrote will. Among their most famous pieces include 1956's Que Sera Sera, introduced, of course, and sung so famously by Doris Day, originally in the Alfred Hitchcock movie The Man Who Knew Too Much, as well as songs such as Buttons and Bows, which Bob Hope actually originally sang in the movie The Paleface, but was popularized and most famously recorded by the great Dinah Shore in 1948. And other songs included Mona Lisa, which Nat King Cole popularized, and even the theme songs from Bonanza and Mr. Ed, among many other pieces which they performed. The great Michael Feinstein, who of course, those of you who know him know that he specializes in popular songs and the songbooks of a lot of composers of the 20th century, and he did an entire album of songs by Livingston and Evans. So that's one of my favorite albums of his. And one of the pieces which he sings on that album, I believe it may even be the last track on it actually, is this next song that we're going to do, which, like Buttons and Bows, was actually originally performed by Bob Hope in a different film called The Lemon Drop Kid in 1950. And it opened in March 1950, which is odd because it was actually a Christmas movie, and it's about, like, Bob Hope's a small-time crook who's on the run from some people to whom he owes a debt. And so he pretends to be a Salvation Army Santa Claus to avoid getting captured by the crooks who are after him, the people he's gotten involved with. And so it's a comedy, of course. It's hard to picture Bob Hope in anything else. And this is a song which he sang in it, which became a huge hit, not for Bob Hope, but actually for his frequent co-star and frenemy, if you will, Mr. Bing Crosby. And Bing Crosby and Carol Richards had a big hit with this next song in 1950 as a duet. And I hope you'll enjoy my version and Gail's version as well. It's called Silver Bells.
Christmas makes you feel emotional. It may bring parties or thoughts devotional. Whatever happens or what may be, here is what Christmas time means to me. City sidewalks, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, greeting smile after smile. And on every street corner you hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Strings of street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green as the shoppers rush home with their treasures. Hear the snow crunch, see the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene, and above all this bustle you hear silver bells, silver jingle bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ring, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Very soon it will be Christmas Day.
Well, this next song we're going to do is perhaps less familiar than some of the other ones we've done, but it's certainly no less beautiful. It's a piece which was written in the 1960s by the composer and lyricist John Mayer. And John Mayer, if you not to be mistaken with the singer-songwriter of today, John Mayer, but John Mayer of the 1960s, who wrote this piece, is very much still alive and well. And it's actually from him who I purchased the sheet music, from whom I purchased the sheet music. And he has a website, and he actually wrote a book about his relationship and his experiences with the great Judy Garland. And it's because of Judy Garland that I became introduced to both this next song we're going to do, as well as some of his other pieces which he wrote and which Judy Garland sang and introduced. And it was towards the end of her lifetime, and obviously the end of her career, that she met John Mayer, and she sang some of his songs on television. And this next song is one of the most beautiful which she performed. And like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, it's a Christmas song which she introduced, but it's sort of a torch song at the same time. It's a plaintive song about love, and the narrator of the song is singing about a romance which he or she knows in his or her heart is over, but is asking their partner to pretend that they still have what they used to have, at least until the holidays are over. And it's such a beautiful song, and Judy Garland sang it on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson in December 1968. And so if you've never heard the song before, or at least have never heard Judy's version, certainly look that up on YouTube or on CD or MP3, because her version is certainly the best. So nevertheless, I hope you'll enjoy my version and Gail's version of After the Holidays.
Please stay with me till after the holidays. That's when I need you so. Just say you'll wait till after the holidays, then I can let you go. Don't make me face this Christmas alone. After each wonderful Christmas we've known, won't you be kind and let me believe you're mine on New Year's Eve?
Well, I am sitting for this next song because I'm going to try playing my little Celesta again, along with Gail, on the instrumental interlude and on the second chorus. And I hope all of you at home, or wherever you're watching this, maybe you're at work watching this, I don't know. I don't mind if you're watching us, I don't care where you are. But anyway, wherever you are, perhaps you'd like to sing along with the chorus. And indeed, it's one of the most famous and beloved of all Christmas songs. And the composer, Irving Berlin, said when he wrote it, he told his musical secretary, because he had a musical secretary to whom he would dictate scores once he had a piece in his head to like fully flesh out the music on paper. And he told his secretary, I've just written the best song I've ever done. And then he said, no, I've actually written the best song anybody's ever written. So there was certainly no false modesty on his part when it came to this next piece, but it was well deserved. If anyone deserved to be immodest, it's Irving Berlin, not only for this next song, but for his whole body of repertoire and work, which remains so beloved and an integral part of the American musical songbook, Great American Songbook. And no song remains more beloved and popular than this next piece. It was originally introduced in the 1942 Paramount picture Holiday Inn, all of the songs from the score of which were written by Irving Berlin. And it starred Bing Crosby, the great Bing Crosby, as well as the equally great Mr. Fred Astaire. And between the two of them and the ensemble cast sang a number of songs which became popular and well-known. And none more so than this next piece, which, when Bing Crosby recorded it as a single, has gone on to become the greatest selling single of all time in recorded popular music, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. In fact, it was so popular that the master, which Decca Records had recorded back in 1942, wore out, and so, because of it had to be pressed so many times. So in 1947, Bing Crosby and the Ken Darby Singers and John Scott Trotter on his orchestra went back into the studio to, as best as possible, attempt to replicate the original 1942 recording session and make a new master of it. So most of the time when you hear it on the radio, it's actually that 1947 re-recording rather than the 1942 original that you hear. So just a little bit of trivia, and just shows you how immensely popular the song was at the time and remains to this day. At the time it was popular probably in part because of the men and women who were overseas fighting during World War II, and it struck a chord with everyone at home. And I think now in this year in particular, it strikes a similar chord. And I think it always will. So from 1942, the song is White Christmas.
The sun is shining, the grass is green, the orange and palm trees sway. There's never been such a day in Beverly Hills, LA. But it's December the 24th. And I am longing to be up north. I'm
Well, I would like to thank everybody for joining us today, and I appreciate you all watching and your support of our music in this particularly difficult year for everybody, I know, but for the performing arts, it's certainly been an extremely challenging year. Abysmal might be the most appropriate word for it. So, so I appreciate everybody watching and supporting our program today, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it and that it's brought you some holiday cheer and perhaps some fond memories, or I hope some good memories, and of songs that you know, and perhaps you heard some songs that you didn't know that I hope you enjoyed as well. And I would like also to extend a special thanks to my pianist, Gail Hyde. So she's still hiding behind the Celesta right now. But she is here. She's been here the whole time, just not always in the camera. So thank you for being here and doing all this. And we're going to conclude our program with what is, and really has been for many, many years, my favorite of all Christmas songs. It's one of my favorite songs in general, and I certainly attribute that fact not only to the beautiful melody and the plaintive lyrics, but the fact that the great Judy Garland introduced it in her 1944 film Meet Me in St. Louis, which is actually where she met her future husband, Vincent Minnelli, who was the director on that film. And she sang a number of wonderful original songs in that score from the film, including the Trolley Song and The Boy Next Door. But this is my favorite from the film, and Judy Garland sings it to her on-screen sister, Margaret O'Brien, who is crying and despondent because their family, their father, got a job. He's an attorney, and he gets a job offer in New York City, and they're planning to move from their home in St. Louis to New York after New Year's. And so on Christmas Eve, in what they think is going to be their last Christmas in St. Louis, I won't tell you what actually happens, but it has a happy ending. On what they think is going to be their last Christmas in St. Louis, Judy Garland comes into her sister Tootie's room, played by Margaret O'Brien, who's crying, and she tries to console her by singing this next song. And originally, Judy Garland thought that the song was too somber to sing. She said, "If I sing these lyrics to Margaret O'Brien, they're going to think I'm a monster." And she refused to sing the song, and they almost cut it. And eventually, Tom Drake, who was Judy's co-star on the film, he played the boy next door, went to Hugh Martin, who was the lead songwriter on this piece. He wrote with Ralph Blaine for the film, but Hugh Martin mostly wrote this piece by himself. He went to Hugh Martin and he said that he really ought to change the lyrics of the song to make them a little bit less depressing, because the original lyrics were, "Have yourself a merry little Christmas, it may be your last, next year we will all be living in the past." And it was just really too too morose. And so Tom Drake said to Hugh Martin, "Hugh, you're being an ass. Just change the lyrics." And so Hugh finally relented and changed the lyrics, and we have what became one of the most beautiful songs that Judy Garland ever introduced, and one of the most poignant of all Christmas songs. So from Meet Me in St. Louis in 1944, the song is "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Merry little Christmas, make the Yuletide gay. Next year all our troubles will be miles away. Once again, as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who were dear to us will be near to us once more. Someday soon we all will be together, if the fates allow. Until then, we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Well, thank you, Gail, and for playing the piano and the celesta at the same time. Almost like having two different people there. So that would have gotten you on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson back in the day, I think, or Ed Sullivan. More impressive than Topo Gigio. Well, that wraps up our show for the night, or for the day, and I want to thank Gail again for playing with us today, and thank you all for tuning in and watching, and I hope that you have a happy holiday season, Merry Christmas and holiday season, and a Happy New Year, and I certainly hope and pray that the year ahead, the next year alluded to in Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, as a better one comes to pass. And I hope that 2021 is a better year for everybody. And so thank you all for joining us today, and I hope to see you again in a better and hopefully a healthy 2021. So goodbye.